Okay, so the first thing that I want to touch to you on is the Toronto Raptors. Okay, now, folks, you're going to have to brace yourself when it comes to the Toronto Raptors in the NBA at this point. I mean, you're 7-24. Okay, you're fifth in the Atlantic Division. You're not a good basketball team. You're just not a good basketball team at this point. And it's not necessarily just because the Raptors have bad players and that they're terrible. It's just that their guys have not been healthy in the lineup. I mean, you're 14th in the Eastern Conference, tied with the Charlotte Hornets. Raptors, as I mentioned, 7-24. The Charlotte Hornets, 7-23. And then you have the Washington Wizards, who are only 2 games back behind those two teams at 5-23. I mean, you're abysmal. You're abysmal at this point. And there's just no other way to put it. But RJ Barrett has missed games. Scotty Barnes has missed games. Like Emmanuel Quickley, we've only seen in 3 games this season. 3 games this season. They've played 31 games. Okay? And we've missed Kelly Olynyk. He's been in 8 games so far. Jacoby Walter, 16 games. Our starting 5, and Jakob Poeltl, by the way, has missed the last few games with an injury. Our starting 5 has not played together at all. At all. And there are actually good players on this team. Like Jakob Poeltl is giving you a double-double a game. RJ Barrett has improved, giving you 6.3 assists a game along with 23.7 points per game. Like these guys are no bums on this team. Okay? Now, it does look like for the remainder of the season, trust me, the Raptors are not going to be doing anything special. It's just not going to happen. Unfortunately, pretty much everybody in Toronto has already come to terms with that. They already know what it is, okay? The Raptors, I mean, it's about development at this point. That's really all it is. The Raptors are headed straight for the lottery. Now, who can you look at on this roster and say that they've actually improved? Now, if I go down the list here, can't really say it for Scotty Barnes because I just can't for him. He's still a very good player, and he's doing his thing. I mean, 20 points a game, 7.8 rebounds again, 7.2 assists. Pretty much I knew Scotty Barnes is capable of this. He's a damn good player. I want to see what he can do as the season goes on. Grady Dick, I will say, has gotten better. He's played in 26 games this season. 32 minutes a game, 18 points a game. We're talking 3.4 rebounds, 2.2 assists, almost a steal a game. I'm going to drop a bomb for Grady Dick. Because, man, Grady Dick, and I've mentioned this multiple times before, when you're watching this guy, a lot of people were really upset about Grady Dick, talking about he's just going to be a one-trick pony when he gets into the NBA. We've all seen at this point that that's just false. That is just false. This man can get into the lane more now than he did in year 1. He takes better shots. He's making them, first of all, creating shots for his teammates. I mean, Grady Dick is going to be a solid piece and a future piece for the Toronto Raptors going forward. Emmanuel Quickley, as I mentioned, we have not seen him at all. And I do find it quite suspicious that everybody seems like they've been pretty damn quiet when it comes to Emmanuel Quickley and this injury. I don't know what the hell the injury is because nobody talks about him anymore at this point. I don't even remember he plays on the team half the time, even though I love me some Emmanuel Quickley. And damn it, I like that extension that we gave him. But can we get more updates on him, please? Like, I know we've seen him talk at practice here and there. I do see him on the bench for the games here and there. But even when I'm in the stadium, I'm in the stadium for every Raptors home game. Damn it, I barely see him in there. Okay. Ochai Agbaji. He's improved. 11.5 points per game, 4 rebounds, 1.8 assists. And his shooting has been better. I will say that. His shooting has been better. I don't have any percentages here. That would probably be a good idea. But actually, no, I do have some shooting percentages here. Where Ochai Agbaji, let's see here. 3-point field goal percentage, 41.7% currently. And he's one of the players who have, honestly, from a defensive standpoint, he's pretty good. Offensively is really where I want to see him take the jump if he can. But I mean, how much can you when you're playing with the other bunch of guys in the lineup that are the main focus? So, I mean, pretty much you just want to make him you want him to make shots when he's open. I mean, are you kidding me? It doesn't have to get more complicated than that, folks. It really doesn't. And I'm not going to go on too much here because there's a bunch of podcasts where I'm going to have to follow up on a lot of these guys, but like Jonathan Mobo has been good. Jamal Shed has been good. 2 other rookies for the Toronto Raptors. And Davion Mitchell is another guy who we got in a trade who I like. 29 games he's played thus far. Where are you? Right here. 29 games, 6.6 points per game. He's averaged 2 rebounds, 5 assists. But defensively, he is a brute. Defensively, he is a brute. And to me, from what I've seen, he's physically tough too. Like Davion Mitchell, when it comes to the defensive end, honestly, he's one of the better defensive players in the league. That's facts. I'm telling you. I'm going to drop a bomb for his defense. He's one of the better defensive players in the league. I'm telling you. And one of the notable games that I realized when it came to Davion Mitchell is when we were playing against the Boston Celtics in Boston, and I saw him match up against Jaylen Brown, and just his physicality and how he was making Jaylen Brown very uncomfortable, bumping him off the block, and just the physicality, driving to the basket. You can't just bully him like that, even though he's small. He is a bit of a bulldog. And that is something that I like to see with Davion Mitchell. And I would like to see that a little bit more in regards to physicality with some of the other players on this roster. So I will get into the Toronto Raptors a bit more as I get back into the podcasting. But I'm going to leave it there for now. But before I move on to the next topic, I do want to give a big shout out to the Raptors coaching staff, because the Raptors coaching staff has done a good job of keeping these players together. They've also done a really good job of, like I mentioned, getting them to improve on their game. Okay, because sometimes you don't really notice a difference right at the beginning of the season when guys are suiting up. You kind of see it throughout the season, towards the end, maybe sometimes even midway through. But to see the improvement of RJ Barrett's not even a guy that I mentioned, of a guy like RJ Barrett going more to his right hand, looks more comfortable dribbling the ball. He's taking better shots. Grady Dick, as I mentioned as well. Ochai Agbaji. Davion Mitchell is a guy that we just got, but seeing what he's been able to do defensively, I didn't even mention a guy like Jamison Battle as well, but those guys who I just mentioned improve heavily from last season. And I'm excited to see what they're going to be doing going forward. But the Raptors have done a good job with their coaching staff, keeping guys together, keeping guys positive. In the stadium, they look happy, even though things aren't going the way that they necessarily want them to go. And the Raptors have been in a lot of games. They've been in a lot of games. They've lost a bunch of games by a small margin, but at least they're competing. They're not getting their ass kicked every single game. They're competing. They've got a lot of work to do, but it is what it is. A bunch of guys are not in the lineup, like I've mentioned. So we'll see what happens going forward, but it looks like they're going to be headed towards the lottery, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, if you can snag a top 5 pick in this draft to go along with the core of guys that you already have in the draft this year, I mean, come on, it's a deep draft. I like Ace Bailey. I mean, odds are you're not going to get the number 1 pick, which looks like it's going to be Cooper Flagg. Ace Bailey is a very nice player. I like him a lot. It's been reported from Michael Grange from Sportsnet that the Raptors have been out there to watch Rutgers games. And to me, Bailey is the guy. I don't know. Things change a lot towards, in the NCAA season. We'll see how they perform, and we'll see what's going on in regards to that. But just overall, the Raptors getting a top 5 pick to add to the core of guys that they have right now would be very nice for the Toronto Raptors. I mean, we all know that. So a lot to come in the next few days, weeks, months in regards to the Toronto Raptors and that trade deadline. Boy, is that something we're going to have to watch out for this season in regards to the Toronto Raptors and beyond.